Brilliance Audio presents Shattered Mirror by Sarah Price, performed by Colleen Marlowe. Every morning when Kelly stood at the door to Zach's bedroom, trying to get him up for high school, she said a silent prayer that she wouldn't find him hanging from the ceiling fan. Today was no different. Downstairs, the dogs barked in the kitchen as Fiona tried to feed them. Even for a 13-year-old, that was no mean effort with 4 rambunctious canines eager for their breakfast. Kelly sighed, the noise of their sharp barking grating on her nerves. Why had she agreed to more dogs? Didn't she have enough going on, dealing with Zachary? But Fiona's eyes, so full of hope and love, had swung the balance in the favor of insanity. So, despite already having too much on her very small plate, Kelly had said yes. After all, what were 2 more, right? Now that those 2 small pups were a year old, Kelly regretted falling victim to loving her daughter so much that once again she had found it too hard to refuse. "Zach," she called out. No response. Her heart began to race, and she felt her palms grow sweaty. Was today the day? As always, she rapped her knuckles on the door twice before opening it. Privacy, she always reminded herself. A teenage boy needed privacy. But the truth was that she needed those few extra seconds to brace herself for whatever was in store for her on the other side of the door. "Zach?" Kelly placed her hand on the doorknob, the metal cold beneath her fingers, and after turning it, she slowly pushed open the door. As usual, the room was dark, and it stank. Despite forbidding him to smoke in the house, Kelly could smell the stale scent of cigarettes. The ashtray, a used can of Red Bull, on his nightstand added insult to injury. He wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. When she saw Zach sprawled across the bed, sleeping, she breathed a sigh of relief. It crossed her mind that such relief, something she'd have found shocking and confusing just a few years ago, was now part of her new normal. His curly blonde hair hung over his face, covering his eyes. She had been begging him to get a haircut for 2 months now. As usual, Zach refused. She noticed that he wore the same dirty blue gym shorts and ripped red t-shirt that he had worn the previous day and the day before that. In fact, Kelly couldn't remember the last time she hadn't seen him wearing that shirt. His lack of attention to his personal hygiene was just one more indicator that her son was depressed. Crossing the room, Kelly opened the curtains. Bright light streamed in, and Zach grumbled, rolling over and covering his face with his pillow. "Come on, Zach, you have to go to school." "Not going," he mumbled. Kelly sat down on the edge of the bed and placed her hand on his shoulder. "Come on, sweetheart." None too gently, he pushed her hand away. He made no effort to get up. "Look, this isn't a game, Zach. It's the law." Kelly forced herself to stay calm. It was like this every morning, the constant battle to get her 17-year-old son to school. It was his senior year, and Kelly found herself counting down the days until he graduated, and hopefully got a job or joined the military, or did anything at all that forced him to leave the house, for good. After silently counting to 10 and realizing that once again Zach had no intention of getting up, Kelly sighed. "Zach, you have to go to school." Outside the doorway, the sound of paws pounding on the stairs announced the impending arrival of dogs. Within seconds, 2 of them dashed into the room, jumped onto the bed, and began licking Zach's face. Their bodies wiggled and their tails wagged as they, too, tried to get him up. A muffled "Get off!" followed by a kick sent both dogs scurrying. "Zach being a jerk again?" Quickly, Kelly turned to the door. "Fiona!" She pressed her hand against her chest, uncertain if her heart palpitated because Fiona had snuck up on her or simply because she was on edge. Maybe both. Fiona was dressed and ready for school, her dark hair, cut in a stacked bob, neatly combed and tucked behind her ears. For as much as Zach broke every rule possible, Kelly's daughter never felt above the law. Fiona glanced over Kelly's shoulder at her older brother, still in bed. Fiona made a face and shrugged. "He's such a loser." "That doesn't help,"